Navigating
fine.
work-life
But
flexibility in
like
changing
getting a
remote
second call in the
environments,
day, like, doing this kind of stuff.
expectations,
Like, I
responsibilities,
think two
and
things
real-life
in that
impacts.
scenario. I don't know that there are a lot of bosses that would call if I would say I need you to do something. I think
Mhm.
more so the expectation is set. It's that like there are things that need to be done,
Yeah.
and they're not necessarily like things that need to be done by the end of the day. It's just like you have things that need to be done. Some of them need
Mhm.
to be done by the end of this day. Some of them need to be
Yeah.
done by tomorrow or next week, and it's on you. Like for me, um, you know, my management style is, I don't have time or energy to micromanage.
Yeah.
I don't think you want me to micromanage you. You're an adult, and the fact that you were hired and I gave my recommendation to hire you means that I trust you to do the job that we're hiring you.
But do you think there's people out there who actually do like, my day ends at 5 o'clock. I might like fuck around in the daytime and like do my own stuff.
Yeah.
But 5 o'clock's here, I'm not doing anything else.
Yeah, of course there's people like that. I think, yeah, there's always going to be people like that try to, do the least amount, and still keep a job, right? I think sometimes that ends up showing, right? Like, there's going to be without getting too deep into this, right? Because I think this is this can be a very subjective conversation,
Mhm.
right? Like, but like I think work performance is going to show over time,
Yeah, I
right?
agree with that.
And it's you were hired to do a job, and say you're in an environment where you have free reign. We're not going to tell you exactly how it needs to get done. You decide how it gets done as long as it gets done, right? Like if you're being productive, I don't think most companies care
They
so
don't,
much
yeah.
on how you're doing it, right? But if you're just like, oh, I didn't get this done, this falls within the responsibility of my job that I was hired for. I didn't get it done, and you're asking me to get it done, and I'm saying I'm not going to do it because it's five. Like that's going to reflect poorly on you, right?
I agree. Another thing too, these Amazon employees, like to me, they should have seen the writing on the wall, right? Because first, I'm fully remote. Then I think maybe a year ago they changed it 3 days a week to come in
Mhm.
there, right? So to me, the writing's on the wall, right?
Sure.
Like it's
Sure. I think there is something that I was actually talking about recently with my wife, and this came, about because we know people personally who, are in the situation, right? Where it's like you saw when shutdown or lockdown happened, right? Where everybody, particularly in tech, had to work from home. You also saw interest rates drop significantly in the real estate market, and the and people buying houses like crazy. You saw a lot of people buy houses, people that live, say, in downtown Seattle.
Mhm.
I was one of them. Lived in downtown Seattle. Interest rates dropped. Found an opportunity to go buy a house outside of downtown Seattle,
Mhm.
right? Realizing like I don't have to live downtown. In fact, there's nothing to do downtown anymore. The benefits and the value of living downtown don't exist because everything's shut down. I can now actually go buy a house,
With the
I can
yard.
outside with a yard with a lot of space, pay the same amount that I was paying for rent and, for mortgage, right? Like, so a lot of people go buy houses like, out Central Washington, yeah, right? Like Marysville,
Mhm.
further north than that, and work for places like Amazon or other tech companies. Like now what do they do? Right? Like they've got a home, they've got families now, right? Like,
Yeah,
it's 4 or 5 years later, like they've got kids, they're
they're
established in
part
their
of that
communities now.
community.
Like they're like, okay, now you got to come back to work. Like
Yeah, I'm
that's a
guessing there's
significant
not very
change.
many six-figure jobs in Central Washington.
No, right, and it's like, okay, like, what are your options here? Like, how are companies handling that? Like,
Yeah,
that's what I'm really curious about. Like, they're like, I personally know people, that have purchased homes during or post COVID,
yeah.
because their employers allowed them to
And
work
it seems like a
remotely.
lot of these employers actually encourage them to do that.
Hmm. Well, I mean, I think the employers didn't really have a choice, right? And they're like, well, this is the reality. And I also think companies to stay competitive, even once things open back up.